Hi, welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI the Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week, we welcome another former FCSI Worldwide President, an FCSI Council of Fellow member, and many would call the godfather of FCSI. Having completed at least 225 projects himself throughout this illustrious career, many of which are government top secret, he joins us today to share his story. Please welcome the founding principal of Culinary Advisors, Mr. Michael Pantano. Hey, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Wade.
Was that a good enough intro for you? The godfather of FCSI?
Yeah. And also, I'm one of three co-founders of Culinary
Three co-founders.
Advisors.
Okay.
Yep.
Who were the other two then?
Angela McFall, who is not a member of FCSI. She is our managing director.
Right.
And Bonnie Zietlow, who's now retired.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, I thought you had started on your own and then they came in after. I didn't realize they came in at the same time. Well, good.
Yep, we all started together.
Well, that builds me into my first question. So you as a firm just celebrated your 28th year, I see.
Yep.
So how does that make you feel as 28 years with the firm?
Well, I could do a whole bunch of jokes about that, but it makes me feel really good, to be honest with you. I mean, we've made it a long time. The company hasn't faltered.
Right.
We're still together. We don't hate each other. I think that says a lot.
Absolutely.
And we brought in a new partner, Laura Lentz, who you interviewed here a while back, and
correct.
We are thrilled to have her because that secures the continuation of Culinary Advisors.
Well, congratulations, because honestly, 28 years, an independent food service consultant firm is not the easiest thing to run, as I know. So 28 years is a long time for a consultant, especially when you've been through, dips and peaks and valleys in this industry. So congratulations to you guys.
Thanks. You're right. This is tough business. We have no assets.
Right.
We have what's in our head and maybe we own a computer and that's kind of it. We don't have inventory, we don't have stock, we don't have product. It's thoughts committed to paper. So
right.
Keeping that together depends solely and entirely on the people who are in the company. And I am fortunate to have been with some of the smartest people in the industry.
Very good. Well said. So tell us a little bit about your background, though, when you got started. How did you get your start in the food service industry that led you into starting Culinary Advisors?
Oh, that goes back many more years than I care to even think about. It's an interesting story. So I joined the Navy in the 60s. And while serving in the Navy, I ran into a high school buddy of mine. Hadn't seen him in a few years, and I ran into him in the Navy, and he was a cook.
Okay.
And he'd gone to the Culinary Institute of America before he joined the Navy. The interesting thing is he had no food service background in his family, and I had none in mine, but we both had this love for eating. After I got out of the Navy, I followed his idea and went to the Culinary Institute, and that got me started. Okay. I also learned that I really didn't feel like working Christmas Eve and on my birthday, so I decided to do something else. So I started managing food service in the B&I, then called the B&I sector.
Sure.
Did that for, 10, 15 years, and decided I really did not care that much to be in customer contact. You just get tired of it, lady. I really don't care. The fly is doing the backstroke and he's fine. Don't worry about it. He doesn't eat much of your soup. I had done some work with Sini Little. They were renovating a facility where I worked. And I said, gee, that looks like a fun thing to do. I had some engineering background. And it seemed to me that that's something I could put together with my engineering and my food service background and design kitchens. Okay. I called Ron Kuzer and I said, Ron, I'd really like to sort of think about this. And he said, contact John. Spoke to John Cini. And long story short, I agreed to work for him for free for a week, and I took vacation. I went there, sort of like an intern, I guess, and did a little of this and a little of that. And they made me an offer, and I started there as a draftsman, rose to vice president, and then knew it was time to leave.
Nice.
And we started here. So that's kind of the whole arc of my career over 40 years.
That's some pretty big names there too. So you're in good company, obviously, with the people that got your start with. So with Culinary Advisors, is there any specialties or segments, top 3 or so or 5 that you guys specialize in?
No. We work hard not to specialize.
Yeah.
When the college and university market can't get funding and that dries up, if that's your specialty, you're hurting.
Right.
If the government sector shuts down or slows down because of gosh knows what, you're slow. So we work very hard to be generalists.
Very good.
Also, we like the idea that you can borrow from one project type and use it on another. So
absolutely. Well, speaking of government projects, you have been involved with a lot of them, and some of them have, like I mentioned, been top secret or not non-disclosure type places. What's it like to design something and be a part of a project and be so proud of what you've done, but yet not be able to talk about it, write about it, or use it for any marketing purposes for your company?
Can't talk about it. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done what I think is some pretty good work in those sectors. It used to be, it was the lady with the hairnet slapping mashed potatoes on a plate. Government food service is in many ways cutting edge these days.
Yeah.
They are interested in attracting the best and the brightest. Their pay scale is up there. I mean, working for the government's not bad, and the food service has kept the pace with that. So we've done some nice work there. And you're right, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's maybe your favorite project that you can talk about that you've worked on?
One no one's ever heard of and may not even be around anymore. It's called the Women's Community Bakery.
Okay.
And I did that project back right after we started Culinary Advisors. So let's say 27 years ago. And I did the work pro bono.
Okay.
Through a pro bono design organization called the Neighborhood Design Center.
Sure.
I sat on their board for a while. And it was a place where women who were in abusive relationships or had fallen on hard times for one reason or another could go there and get a job. And they were baking product for the retail chain and for the institutional chain. So I did that project for free. We begged the equipment from this place and that, and it was all done on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And that was the first pro bono job I've done, and I've done many of them since then. And those are easily the most rewarding.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Absolutely. What's one thing about Michael Pantano that no one would ever guess about? What's one little secret or something like that nobody would ever know unless you told them?
He's a wannabe farmer.
Wannabe farmer. Really?
Yep. Yep, really. I'd like to be on a tractor with a straw hat and a long piece of grass out of my mouth and just driving my tractor and mindlessly cutting rows back and forth in a field.
Nice.
That's my partners probably know that, but not too many people do.
Well, come on out to Illinois.
That and I do ballroom dancing.
Okay. Very good.
And I think people do know that.
Yeah. Well, you come on up to Illinois. I'll get you on a tractor with one of the farmers here in Illinois. We can easily make that up. I know you've talked about this in the past. We've done seminars about it. Now, you've been on stage, but tell me what's maybe been one screw up that you've done, a big one in your career that you learned from it. And what did you learn from it?
Wait, I don't even know how to tell you which one. Um, you know, go going into a meeting unprepared.
Okay.
That's something I do a lot. And I still do it. I go into a meeting unprepared, then all of a sudden I've got to do the consultant shuffle, and you rely on your wits,
Yeah.
and it's you can pull it off, but it's often not a good look.
Sure.
So I could prepare better for events.
Okay.
The other thing is I'm a terrible people manager. I'm a pushover.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you for one piece of advice, but be prepared might be the best one that you could offer. But what is some advice you would give to somebody thinking about becoming a food service consultant in today's world?
Wow. Get yourself out, get yourself a restaurant job.
Yeah. Get some experience, right?
Work in the field. There, people come to this industry in a variety of ways, but if I had to categorize the two big ways they get here,
Yeah.
they come out of the dealer side and they know equipment better than I can ever help to know it even now. And then people come out of the food service, the culinary side, and they understand how kitchens work and are a little weak on the technical aspects of equipment, and
Sure.
probably stay that way for the rest of their life because they love the cooking part. So
Yeah.
my advice to anybody would be sure you've got some food service experience
Okay.
before you hold yourself up as a food service consultant.
Sure. Absolutely. When you get ready to travel to a client's workplace or meeting, what are the three must-haves you have to have with you when you leave the office?
Pants.
In today's world, that actually does make a lot of sense.
I don't want to tell you what I've got on here. Anyway, a knowledge of the client, a knowledge of the project, and it comes down to that be prepared thing again.
Yeah.
And I try to be prepared.
Sure.
And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah. When you come across, in all these years you've been doing this, when you come across either a writer's block or a mental block of designing or something like that, is there any tips or tricks that you use within yourself to kind of get over that block or that mental block?
That I wish I had one. I've had proposals sit on my desk for a week and a half, and I cannot write the proposal. I know what I want to say. I know what the project is. I understand what the proposal should be. I understand what the fee should be, and I can't write the proposal. And I've written it 20 times. Usually, I'll just sit around and talk to somebody else about it.
Okay.
We've got others in the company, all of whom can write, and
Sure.
we write differently. I got to tell you, over the years, my partner Bonnie was one of the most concise, analytical writers I've ever known, ever.
Wow.
And I would talk to her. I would take, as you can see now, a long time to say very little. She would say a lot in very few words.
Very good.
And so our voices were written voices were completely different, but she bailed me out probably more than anyone.
Very good. Very well said too. What are three things your friends or family would say to describe you?
Taskmaster, perfectionist, pain in the tuchus.
Well, that's a great way to end this part of the interview. I like that. So that does end the formal questions I've got for you today, Mike. But before we get going, I've got a speed round of questions I'd like to go forward with. And if you don't mind, just whatever comes the first thing when you hear me say the next few questions or choices. First one is, what's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Oatmeal.
And is that different than when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I hated oatmeal as a kid.
Okay. Fancy restaurant or local dive?
My kitchen at home.
Ooh, good choice. What's a vice that you can't part with?
My nightly Negroni.
Good one. Puppies or kittens?
Puppies.
When you're stuck in traffic, driving around town, what is the one thing you do to de-stress yourself?
Invent new blue words. I switch off one of the cable news stations on my Sirius and go to 50s music, 40s music, seriously Sinatra, and just go there.
Zone out. Very good. Live on a moon base or live on a Mars base?
Mars, probably.
Okay. If you were given $1,000 to spend on your closest friend, what would you buy them?
Theater tickets.
Would you consider yourself spontaneous or a planner?
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on the circumstances.
Absolutely. If you were in charge of the company's office vending machine, what 3 items are must-have to be in there?
In this company, dog food, coffee, gummy candies.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
Soft tacos or crunchy tacos?
Soft.
What's your guilty pleasure snack?
Lemon cake.
Ooh, sounds good. Coke or Pepsi?
Iced tea.
Cookies or brownies?
Brownies.
Any particular kind?
Fudgy, soft, warm brownies.
Very good. Day planner or digital calendar type of guy?
Was one, now I'm the other.
Okay.
Digital.
Good. If humans came with a warning label, what would your warning label say?
Keep back 300 feet.
All right. Very good. Well, Mike, tell people a little bit more about how they can find you and Culinary Advisors.
Well, you can call me up or you can go to www.culinaryadvisors.com. We're there. That store is open 24 hours a day. So just log in and someone will wave at you.
Very, very good. Well, that wraps up this edition of On Tap presented by FCSI the Americas. A huge thank you to Mike Pantano for joining us today. We couldn't do this without members like you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe to On Tap on all your favorite podcasting platforms and turn on notifications to make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes. But until then, cheers.